All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Throne Bros. I'm your host, Nando. With me is the 3 Eye Raven. What up?
Three, Three-Eyed Raven in the building, back again.
All right. Yep.
We have episode two of House of the Dragon, and I liked it. I liked it.
Same. I know some of the casuals will say this was dumb, but um, you know, we still welcome you, but it's not dumb. It's all part of the plan. Um, all right, the episode's called Queen's Landing. Uh so uh we start off with Jace's body, a view from like the under the water. Jason's body's like floating at the top, and then we see like the rubble and stuff, and boats are, and then we see some dragons do some fires, which actually these dragons are, the Vermithor and I'm drawing blank on the names. I know the names, but basically it's the three.
Sea Smoke
Yes, yeah, Sea
and
Smoke. Yeah,
Silverwing is
yeah, Silverwing, Sea Smoke, and so the three guys that were recruited to ride the riderless dragons. They're back. They're doing their thing. Nothing really special there. Then we see Bela on her dragon hat, and she's flying away. She has Jace on the dragon. She's bringing Jace back. Um, then we key to her in Dragonstone, bringing Jason through the dragon pit as the dragon trainers or whatever you want to call it, handlers. They're good. They're bringing Jason, carrying Jason to the castle, and as we see a shock look from a leader of the Queen's Guard when Jason's being brought in before they bring him into to Rhaenyra. Of I guess you could kind of assume that this is like it hitting him that like, yeah, I probably should have not listened to him and let her go. Maybe this wouldn't happen, saying.
Mhm.
Um, then they walking to the room where Rhaenyra meets them, and she has a moment. Okay, let's just call it that. She has a motherly moment where she's in shock of what she's. It seems like she's not comprehending what she's seeing. Obviously, Jace is laid on this like stretcher, I guess you could say, um, lifeless. Um, she's calling for him. She's like, Jace, answer me. What have you done? You know what I mean? So she at this moment, is in shock. Okay. Um, she gets closer to him, and you know, she's having a little crash out meltdown, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, her son died. Um, and this was really, kind of, I guess, I would say would lead to the rest of the episode for Rhaenyra. It's just kind of a sad episode for her. Obviously, her mood is just sad as she lost her second son again, and well, her oldest, obviously, her first son. She lost Luke last season. Um, they didn't go deep into her reaction to this. Obviously, we'll see how this carries on as this season goes on. You know what I mean? Like what her attitude towards it. The King's Guard, the head of the Queen's Guard, I should say, kind of blames himself and tells her to, like remove him from, it's his fault. He let her down and he should be, stripped of his title, basically. Um,
Yeah,
so I mean, there's a moment and she blames everyone that's there in the castle for letting this happen. Um, Anything interesting there that our fans should know?
no, I mean the Queen's Guard. I'm pretty sure it's Sir Laurent, his name, but he practically just kind of offers himself as sacrifice because he knew he fucked up. But other than that, yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah. So obviously that happens. We go to the finishing touches of the Battle of the Gullet, where we see some fighting on the beach from the Valerian forces and the whatever's left for the Triarchy. Um, but then we see Alan on a boat rowing, calling for Lord Corliss. He's trying to find Lord Corliss out there. Um, and that's just that quick scene there. What we see, carnage everywhere, but they're just like looking. He's looking for Lord Corliss. He hasn't given
Mhm.
up. Then we go to the Vale real quick, where not Bela, Reyna, returns to the Vale with Sheep Stealer, and she's trying to get asylum because she fucked up. So she's trying
Yeah.
to get asylum from what is her name? I
Oh,
forget.
lady. Her name is Lady Jean Aaron.
Okay, so she is Aaron. Forgot. So
Yeah.
she goes to
Mhm.
get help from the lady Aaron, obviously, and basically she gets turned down because she's like, "Look, uh, Jace is dead," and she's kind of admitting, like, "Look, like I made a mistake. Like I went with Sheep Stealer. He didn't know, but they don't know like that I was there. Like they don't know it's me,
Mhm.
but like I still need asylum. And you said you needed a dragon. She
Yeah.
tries to hit her with that, and she just turns her down. She's like, "You're not even supposed to be here. You're supposed to be in Pentos, correct? With the kids." So yeah, she just
Yeah.
gets turned down.
You're
Yeah,
supposed to be with the kids, Raina.
yeah,
Fuck you doing?
yeah. So she turns her down because she wants no part of it. She wants no like repercussions. Because she knows there is like a battle like happening around her that has started, obviously, because we know that Damon and the forces already started. Like, I guess you could say the first big battle. Well, two battles happen around like the same time, but
Yeah.
she knows she doesn't want to get caught in the middle of this. Um, so she turns Raina down. Um,
Yeah.
so Raina knows she fucks up, but she still thinks that nobody knows that it was her. Obviously, there's another scene that we see where they don't know who it is, um, but don't mean to kill the the lead. Um, we move on to the Team Black celebrating at the Vale after their defeat of the Lannisters. They're just singing along, having some fun, uh, singing along about how they
Well, they're not at the Vale.
well, not at the Vale, the river.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Riverland. Yeah.
yeah,
But
a
yeah.
little short trip down, a little short trip
Mhm.
west. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're celebrating. Uh, Sir Strong comes to Damon, and he, gives him a token, a gift for his victories, um, which is like some food, basically, that he brings. And then he brings a message from Rhaenyra. Um, Obviously, we don't know what the message says, but obviously, we can basically assume what it said. Jace has died, which he does say. Actually, he does say because they ask. I always forget his name. He is my favorite, but I should know his name. He asks what's going on because he sees Damon's reaction to the script.
Oh,
And he
you talking about the
Tully,
little guy that's
Tully,
leading the pack?
Tully, no, Tully.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
It starts with an O, I think.
yeah. So he basically tells them like because they see his look of concern, he basically tells them like he's been summoned to the King's Landing. Well, he's gonna go take King's Landing. So, but that basically Rainier has sent for him because something has happened. But he says that they must continue on to Harrenhal, and he'll meet them there. Like he'll meet them there later, um,
Yeah.
when it's time. So, um, anything from that? I mean, I know it's not really like too crazy of a at that moment. We do switch to a different um,
No, that was pretty much it.
scene here before we leave. Then we go to we see Caraxes drinking water. First time I think we've seen a dragon drink water. Not that I don't think that was a foregone conclusion that they didn't drink water, but you know what I'm saying. And then we see Damon talking to the witch, where basically she basically tells him like, look, I want Harrenhal. And Damon basically tells him, like, kind of laughs. It was like, look, you don't have a name. You don't have a, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see what we can do. I'll talk
Mhm.
to her and see if we could give you something. Which, you know, she didn't like the response, obviously. She was trying to plead to Damon, like, I want Harrenhal because I've been here all these years and I'm still standing and like everybody's come and gone and you know the the kingdom put somebody there and is always changing, you know, but I've always been here. So that was an interesting conversation that they
Yeah.
had. We'll see how this plays out.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
anything?
she's been key. Like, when it comes to things happening, I
There's always
guess.
a there's always a witch involved. That's just
Yeah,
you got to know. So yeah.
yeah. But yeah, nothing to add.
Okay, we go back to Alan looking for at the shore, looking for Lord Corliss. This time he's joined surprisingly by by Bela, and Bela comes down, basically gives him like a drink of I guess water or rum. I don't know what's in the thing, and they kind of conversate. Bela basically tells him like I'm looking for him too, and basically Bela lets him know like I know who you are.
Mhm.
Um, I know that we're related. And basically she tells him that like that Adam told her basically like everything. So they're all looking for, and they kind of like Alan kind of asks him like, how was he like towards
Yeah.
you, like when you were younger or whatever, and she basically tells him like he was gentle, you know what I mean, and but she says at least in his eyes, you know what I mean, and he
Yeah.
kind of explains to him like, look, this was key in this conversation. I think he kind of explains to him like, look, he loved my grandmother. Um, and I think that's why he tried to forget about you guys because he did really love my grandmother and he tried to put her first, basically.
Mhm.
And so he had to kind of not worry about you guys or
Yeah.
forget that you guys were there. Um, they're eventually they see a dragon while they're talking and um Bela tells them that it's Adam. He's searching too. And then we see Adam in the sky and he finds him. He's doing an overlook and he finds what looks like somebody on the rock. He kind of does like a little turnaround and basically um we see him on camera. They kind of zoom in. He's looks like he's passed out, where he is passed out. So that's where Corliss is at, right? That was that scene. That was a cool, a little bonded moment between those two. Well, three eventually. We'll get back to that. That cool moment there too. Um, then we go to Lair Strong and our king or supposed king, Aegon. They're on their journey as prisoners to these wherever they're going. They're going towards the queen, so they're going south. Um, and then the little chariot they're in stops. Laris looks outside. Looks like they've encountered some fighters from the Triarchy who were on land, who made it on land further inland, and they're fighting with those guys. Um, Eventually, the last thing we see is them escape their captivity because they beat up one of their guards and they just kind of leave. Um,
Yeah.
Anything interesting from the conversation? I know they were like talking or whatever.
Well, well, at least Aegon wants to go to Rook's Rest
Yeah.
because he said, "Oh, my army's there, so they'll pay attention to me, whatever." So that's where Aegon wants to go.
Uh,
Larys, who knows what he's up to?
yeah, he's scheming. That's just what he does. He's a little rat.
Yeah.
But we know that. Next we go back to the something I foreshadowed. Corlys is up, kind of getting his strength back. He's there with his kids and his granddaughter. And he looks at they're up him, Adam and Baylor standing up. Alan's still sitting down. He looks down as they're looking at their home at
Driftmark.
Driftmark, as it's burning, and he basically looks at Alan, who's still sitting down, and he's like, I don't have anything to give you right now but my name, which basically Alan replies and says, that's more valuable than anything else. So basically this little moment where Corlys said he's going to give them the last name, so they're not bastards. They're not going to be bastards anymore. He's going to give them the name.
Yeah.
So they'll be Valarians now. So, that little moment. We go to King's Landing. We see our girl Alicent. She's kind of peeking towards the dragon pit because she sees a dragon still flying as Vhagar. But she's like, she's kind of in a rush trying to figure out like when's he gonna leave, what's going on. You know what I mean? As she's overlooking the city into the dragon pit, we then move into a scene where she goes down to I believe it's a brothel. Is that correct, or is it like a shower house or something, like a shower area or something?
I'm not 100% sure what it was,
I don't
honestly.
think it's a brothel because I didn't see any like women. I think it's like looks like a place where like I don't want to say like a spa or something from back then or something. Or
Um, Honestly, it might just be like an armory.
okay. Well, yeah, she goes down, and we find out that she goes down to the leader of the Gold Cloaks, which is this is going to be key. And she basically tells him like, "Hey, like, stand down. Something's going to happen. I need you to stand down, and also me and Helena need to like leave basically too. We need to escape, so that conversation happens. So she's trying to set up like for when Damon leaves, obviously, to get ready to make her move because she wants out just in case she doesn't. But she goes to him. They have that conversation. I don't know if anything like was a miss in those words in the conversation they had that we might have to touch on. But
Nah, I think it's pretty straightforward. She just kind of tells him the plan. Um, Nothing really,
yeah,
nothing
and
more.
we got a dragon stone. You see a dragon flying as Caraxes, so that means Damon's there. And then we have a little kind of funny Damon being Damon scene where he basically walks into a room where Ulf and Hugh are sitting there, and he was like, kind of like, obviously, I'm sure Damon has heard of these guys already, but he's never seen them in person. And he basically like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, whatever. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, well, we were at Harrenhal waiting for Vhagar, and then he kind of calls him out, like, so after 2 days, you didn't realize like it might not be happening, like, And then he was like, well, it was weird over there, Ulf being Ulf, like it was
Mhm.
weird over there. Witch told us to come, like whatever. Which I don't think Damon put two and two together, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Damon's just being his usual dick to people he doesn't like, obviously, or like have any like respect for. Um, and basically, they just have like a quick like banter where he basically calls them idiots and just goes to eventually makes his way upstairs to Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
He does have an encounter with our girl, his old whore, I guess you could say, who, when he left for Harrenhal, she was a prisoner. He kind of brings that up, like, what are you doing out? You know what I mean? Like, and she's like, well, I've been very, the queen has taken me in, you know what I mean, and used my resources and stuff like that. Um, but he's kind of still wary about it. Like, why are you like, he's still kind of like questioning her motives or like, I think he even brings up like if she's paid by the the Greens, you know what I mean, by the High
Yeah.
Tower,
Mhm.
um, which it is an interesting conversation. Um, oh, and then they have a conversation about Allison. Do we think that her little plan is true? It's real. Like her,
Mhm.
like are we gonna get um we're gonna get ambushed? This is a trick. Which she tells him I wasn't present for the meeting. But they've been close as they were younger. So I mean, I would basically she kind of says I would trust the queen.
Mhm.
Obviously, Damon's always wary of stuff like this, especially in battle. Um, so and then she basically tells him like I gotta go inform the queen that Vagar was seen
Mhm.
flying in the direction of Riverland. So that's the key. Um, anything there before we go to a key moment here? I mean that everything's a key moment, but you know what I'm saying?
Nah, the just the Vagar thing.
Yeah, that was like the biggest thing.
Mhm.
You go to we go to King's Landing. Allison's still scrambling around because she knows like that Aemon has left. So she's scrambling around. The head of the King's Guard that's still left there basically stops her and tells her like, "Hey, can't have you slipping around." You know what I mean? Like, I gotta know where you're at. She's scrambling. It's a quick thing. Um, then we go back to Dragonstone. Damon's trying to talk um to
Right there.
Rhaenyra. She's in bed, having her moment. Her son died. They're talking about it. Damon's trying to compel her, like he died in battle. She's saying he did what he did, and he was like, "Well, that's what sons do." And then she brings up to Damon, there was another dragon, sheep stealer. Baela says, um, and then you know Damon brings it up, like that's impossible. Um, no, no wild dragons let themselves like have a rider. Um, and then she explains how he attacked Moon Dancer, which led to Jace to his death. Like so, he kind of questions like, did the Greens get somebody to ride? You know, because he doesn't know that's his daughter that's right, and you know what I mean, like because nobody knows because she's supposed to be with the kids. Um, so
Yeah.
bas- basically, she tells him like, we got to get that person. And then like Damon throws in Vagar's life of King's Landing, and that kind of gets her up from her like laying in bed, and she's like, she basically said it's time, because that's what she was waiting for. With her and Allison, whatever deal her and Allison made. So, um, yeah, that's where we're at there. Um,
What's it called? So something I want to bring up, and during that part, Damon brings up the dream and tells her like yeah, I seen a queen, and I'm pretty sure he was talking about Daenerys, but he mentioned like yeah, I seen a silver haired queen. Oh,
Dream he was having in Harrenhal last season, where he
yeah,
was kind of
but yeah, I'm pretty sure he was talking about Daenerys, but I'm pretty sure he just brought it up to Rhaenyra just to let her know like hey, like you're the one that's supposed to continue this, like
saw a girl in a silver hair in a desert far away
yeah, that's what
with
it was.
dragons at her breast.
Mm, yeah.
Obviously,
So
we see.
basically, just telling Rhaenyra like, yo, you gotta keep going. You can't just give up, because
And he throws in there what my brother told you is real.
mm,
So, because he say he had a vision as well. Um, so back to King's Landing, Allison's packing up. She is confronted. This is a key moment actually as well. She is confronted by this scumbag. Um, I forget his name. He's an asshole.
Lord Wild.
Or Wild, who's part of the council.
Mm.
And he's trying to confront her because he thinks he caught her in something because he's been watching her, I guess. And basically, he uses this information that he has to try to force himself on her. Honestly, so he's being he thought he had one on her. Like, oh well, I know you've been with. She also uses. He also uses the fact that he knows that she's been with
Kristen.
Kristen Cole
Hmm.
too. So that's what his like thing. Well, you were with him too. So she's trying to blackmail her into like sleeping with him. Basically, they have a back and forth. He basically throws himself on her, gets her to the ground. She's like screaming. And she gets saved by the maester who comes in and he tries to play, the thing. I'm detaining her. She is, she's betrayed the crown, like put her
Hmm.
under arrest. And then the maester says, I don't know. All I see is you attacking the queen, and you're the one that needs to be apprehended.
Yeah.
Um, so they take him in, um, and the queen stays. And then the maester basically tells her, like, I don't know what's going on, but basically he knows something's up, but he's not like he's trying not to get in it.
Yeah.
Basically, like
Mhm.
so. Yeah, so that was that little interesting moment um, that we see there. So, anything from that?
No, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So then we go back to Dragonstone, and Rhaenyra's dressed. She's ready to go. She tells her whatever the two idiots on her council that are still there. He's going. They're being like, "Oh, well, you gotta. It's probably a trick," And she's
Mhm.
like, "I'm tired of waiting." Um, so she's gonna go.
Yeah.
She basically tells them Aim is going to Harrenhal. They're still going, and she says she's going. She doesn't care. As she's going out, it is Sir Laurent. Just a heads up. I just
No.
checked. Yeah, Sir Laurent. As she's going out, our friend, trusty friend with all the info, she gives her crown. She says you're going to need this as she heads out of, she starts to leave the premise to go to the dragon pit to leave. As they're heading to the dragon, Damon's bringing up because of their interaction that he witnessed. He's bringing up, their relationship, um, which she tells him like she's done a lot for me. Like I don't know what you want me to say. Done a lot for me, and Damon's kind of still weary, I guess, about it. Or
Yeah.
she's done a lot for us. She didn't say like me. She said for us.
Mhm.
So I mean, she's trying to let it know like she's good.
Yeah. And one thing she mentioned as Rhaenyra was like walking off, she tells Rhaenyra like, "Hey, remember who's loyal?
Yeah, she did. That is a key part. Yeah,
Come send for me. Like
yeah,
after the city."
that's why
So
you're 3 hour Raven.
yeah.
But yeah, um, that did happen. Um, then not that this needs to brings up, they're getting ready to go, and I guess you could say in a very Valyrian tone, you hear you hear Rhaenyra end the conversation, and she says Syrax in a very like Valerian way. Obviously, we all call them Cyrax, and but um, yeah, and then you see Cyrax and Caraxes in the background, just waiting to go.
Mhm.
Um, very cool moment here too because um, when they leave, you see all the dragons that are that they have as a that are present leaving uh, Dragonstone behind each other, and they're all leaving from different places, which is also like cool. Like I thought to like see that visual of them just flying away. Um, Oh, before that, also funny moment. Damon decides as the queen rides gets on Cyrex. Um, he decides to tell Ulf and Hugh their orders. Like, hey, we're gonna fly in. You're gonna fly wide and high and make sure that nothing comes from each direction. And he was like, is that simple enough for you, you guys? So, he's giving them the orders like, hey, you're on watch. You're not doing anything. Me and her are riding together like next to each other, and we're gonna ride in and you got the perimeter
Mhm.
basically while we're in the air. But yeah, that is a cool moment when they're all coming out. So um so back at King's Landing, we just get Helena doing some weird shit. And then Allison comes to her and basically tells her, like, hey, we gotta go. Rhaenyra's coming. She's taking over. Helena's first like question is like, will there be a battle? And Allison explains basically like no. And then she kind of tells her like, hey, it seems like Sir Rickard has betrayed me. Um, is that the Kingsguard guy? The Kingsguard guy that went up to her, Sir Rickard?
Mhm.
Okay. So she's like, um, we gotta go. Um, Helena's still having questions. Like she's like, well, you're the queen, and like Alice is like, no, you're the queen, you know. Um, but anyway, they're walking out, um, and she's trying to explain like, hey, like what's going on? Like, anyway, they're having a talk. They go up to um the guys with the scorpion around like the actual castle, and she tells them to stand down. You know what I mean? Um,
Order of the Queen.
yes.
Mm.
Which
Order.
Helena finally plays along and goes
Yeah.
like, "Yes, I am the queen. Like this is it's my authority."
Mm.
So, and she says, "I will not have any beast harmed," or I think it's the actual word she says.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's still a little worried, but she tells him to stand down. Um, they go quickly to the Greens camp, wherever that is, outside of Harrenhal somewhere. Um, and they hear and they see uh, Vagar through the woods flying towards Harrenhal, and then they all cheer and they're like, "We're going to Harrenhal because they got the word. That was what they were waiting for, was for Vagar to come." So they they march over to Harrenhal as they get there. Then we go to Aemon getting to Harrenhal. He starts just Vagar's just dusting it, anything that's around it. Um, just fire from Vagar. Um, Vagar ends up going into one of the halls that's open. Obviously, we know why Harrenhal is open because of uh, Valerian the Dread back in the day that melted it. Most of it messed it up. I don't understand why people want it so much, even until back in the day, like in the old series, obviously in the you know
I
years later.
mean, it's a piece of shit, but it's like one of the biggest like
Yeah, it was a big castle.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I've asked this before. Who was the original like family that was there?
Um, well, it was Heron the Black, I think, the one that got burnt down
Okay.
with with Balerion. Um, yeah, Heron Hor. It's spelled Hoare.
Okay.
House Hor, yeah.
Okay. So go we go to Aemon Aemon is gets off of Vagar, and he's fighting whatever soldiers are left from the strong army, the small strong army that is that's still there. Um, he basically wipes through them. He makes it to like the dining hall, and there is Lord Strong, Laris's other brother, right? That's who it is, or uncle.
That's uncle. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, his uncle.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we weren't expecting you." He's being whatever, and he's like, he's asking for Damon, and Strong is being the usual Strong we've seen on the show. He's just like,
Hmm.
okay, like, and then Aemon tells him he needs to fight him, and he's like, I don't want to fight you. Like, I haven't wielded a sword in years. Like, I'm not here. I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
um.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gets up from his chair. He comes around the table closer to Aemon, and basically Aemon takes care of him. Um, he takes care of his other son because as his two sons, I think, that are there
Yeah.
with him.
Mhm.
Takes care of his other son, and then one of his sons ends up getting a good stab at Aemon right at the lower back. But Aemon still takes care of him like after the stab happens. But the stab obviously proves to be, I'm not gonna say deadly, but it puts a little stop to whatever Aemon wanted to keep doing at Harrenhal, at least for this episode.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Mhm.
Probably the last time we'll see Aemon. It is the last time we'll see Aemon in this episode. He ends up kind of falling as he's trying to walk towards a different area, and he ends up kind of like getting on his knees, and then eventually he's kind of like crawling, and he ends up crawling to our friend the witch, who's just sitting there, kind of giving him a look while he's saying like, "Help me." Um, so obviously we know that like more than likely, well, not more likely, we know that she's gonna help. Spoiler, like she's the one who saw the vision, so she knows what's supposed to happen. So like, you know, she has to help him because the prophecy needs to be
Mhm.
fulfilled, and he was part of something that's supposed to happen. Obviously, because she knows she's seen it. So we'll probably get into that more next episode. They'll go into that. What's gonna happen there? Anything from that before we go to King's Landing?
No, that was just look out for that relationship that
Yeah.
grows.
Especially, foreshadowing. That was foreshadowed a little bit by her thing with Damon before he left, and how he kind of like laughed at her request about wanting Harrenhal. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's the relationship's a little sour at the moment, I would say, with her and Damon. But also I don't know that she ever had like a side. I think she's just on the side of like, I mean, her side, but also like what's supposed to happen, I guess,
Mhm.
in her vision. Um
Well, I feel kind of she's kind of like a Varys. Like
yeah.
she's not picking sides, but she's just doing it kind of for the throne.
Yeah, I mean, for her place and what's
Yeah.
supposed to happen.
Mhm.
Um, in Kingsguard, we see the dragons arrive. The city's up in arms because the dragons are there. They're all freaking out. Nobody, everybody thinks, they're about to get burned to pieces because that's usually what happens when dragons are around. Um, you know, Damon and Damon and Rhaenyra land at King's Landing. The other guys kind of sit on the outside of the city, posted up on top of some buildings. As she goes in, the Green Army that's there, they kneel, they put their weapons down. Um, that's the army on the outside. Obviously, as we know, like they've been told to stand down by Alicent, um, which Rhaenyra has a moment with Daemon where she's like, "Oh, she was she lived up to her basically lived up to her her promise,"
Mhm.
and so they go in and basically they go through the castle trying to make their way to the throne room. They are met by a couple of guys that aren't, I guess weren't told the plan or just didn't want to follow along. Um, Damon takes care of them. Um, it was in that little room where Cersei years later ends up putting that map of
Mm.
the Seven Kingdoms. So they make their way. There's people who live in the castle who are scrambling. Servants, whatever. They make it through the throne room. Nobody's there, because obviously she hasn't been told that Aegon has left, because nobody knows that he has left.
Mm.
Obviously, he kind of just so there's nobody there. She starts to make her way to the throne room, and then we have a couple of um, it's Sir Rickard and a couple of the Green Army that's left behind. Um, basically trying to keep them from doing what they're about to do. Damon's the only one at the moment with a sword. Then Rhaenyra picks up her sword, to show a force there. He kind of laughs at her, like, "Oh, okay," you know what I mean. And then we get a big surprise. Um, they hear some commotion. They look behind them. The gold cloaks are coming in. They're on the one side, on the other side, and their leader comes out and says, we're the gold cloaks. We remember who our commander was, and we stand behind Daemon Targaryen, who was our former commander. Um, so now they have backup against this little bunch that tried to stop them from taking the throne. Um, which they basically give them an ultimatum: put them down or you'll die. And then everybody but the Sir Rickard puts him down.
Mm.
And he just stands there, kind of knows this is done. You know what I mean? As everybody around him puts the swords down. Um, and then he kind of still it's still on the side of like the Prince Regent's not going to stand for this. Talking about Aemon. Um, so um, as he's walking away, obviously. Um, Rhaenyra kind of thanks Sir Luther, that's who it is, the leader of the Gold Cloaks, Sir Luther, for his help. And they say, obviously he said they're on their side, and what's good for the throne, which was Rhaenyra, who was named the queen. She makes her way up, but she wants to know where Aegon is. And obviously nobody has an answer for where Aegon is, because nobody knows he's gone except the Maester. They finally go to the Maester, um, say he's not here, Allison's not here. Like the people that she's looking for aren't there. Um, and then he lets them know. We see the Maester gives him a deal. He says, "I have an offer for you." He said that our guy, as we talk about him all the time, our guy Sir Lair Strong left a gift behind in case Daemon ever returned to King's Landing. Uh, and before we get to see what this is, we're showing Allison and Elena with her youngest kid, and they're like trying to get away. They're hiding their faces. Well, not their faces, but they got capes over their heads. They're trying to go through the crowd to try to get away. Um. So anyway, they finally go back to Damon. He's going back to like the cellars that they got down there. He talks to well, he's not told that yet, but the Maester said, "I have something for you," which is the the guy that just got locked up earlier, who was trying to put himself on Allison. Obviously, he talks to him, and then there's a guy who works those those the the sellers. There's a guy that works the sellers that basically says,
Oh
"I have
yeah. Mm.
I have a gift from you from Sir Lars Strong in case you ever came back." He goes, there's another like hitting cell that's there. He puts the light up to it and he laughs because he knows what it is. I kind of knew once he said it, because I flashed back to an episode last time where we see this person in a cage, and then it kind of like hit me as like he's making his way over. Um, we come back upstairs to the throne room where people are pleading their loyalty to Rhaenyra. The wishy-washy people that are like just gonna flip to whoever's in charge so they don't die. Um, he is brought. She is brought from the cellars. Our friend from the small council, and then Damon walks in with Otto. Surprise, surprise! Otto Hightower is brought in um, to the throne room, and he's told by Damon and Neil. Obviously, um, Damon tells Rhaenyra um, that she has to do this. Basically, um, he tells him Aegon's fled, um, but we have an old friend here, um, and he already knows. Otto knows what has to happen. He kind of says, "Let's get it uh, over with." Damon's kind of whispering, like, "Look, they're watching. Like, you got to do a show of force, basically. Like, look, you're not a joke. Unfortunately, this is what comes with being a king. Sometimes you have to do this stuff, and you know, but as long as you're not excessive with it, kind of like Joffrey or things we've seen in the past." So she's hesitant. Obviously, she's never like killed anyone like that.
Yeah.
So she's hesitant. Damon gives her his sword, and she's still hesitant about it. Um, she finally does it, owns up, kind of. She misses. She gets him in like the like the lats, like up in the like upper back, and then she takes a second swing, which takes his head off. Um, I thought it was one of those situations, like maybe like back when like Rob tried to kill the Stark, and it felt like he had to do a couple swings
Mm.
for that one, but it was just basically she missed. But that blade cut through it. And the most interesting part about it is, so next, Damon takes the other guy's head off, just clean, just, a little quick swing. And right after that, a couple minutes, the rest of the Go Cloaks bring in Helena and Allison um, into the room as Rhaenyra finally sits on her throne. But then, like, the show ends with obviously they're being brought in. The episode ends with them being brought in, and then as they're being brought up front, Allison sees her dad's head, and her dad like dead, and then it ends with this look that she's giving Rhaenyra, like of shock, but also like,
I don't think she knew.
yeah, that her dad was around. Well,
Mm.
obviously, she didn't know where her dad was. But then they zoom in after she gives the look. They zoom in on Rhaenyra where she's like, you can see her face of like sadness, or but also like towards right before it cuts to black, like you could tell she's trying to put up a face of like yeah, defiant, like I did this, like I'm gonna stand on it,
Mm.
like you know so that's how it ends. um Queen's Landing, because she got to King's Landing. So um yeah, that was episode 2 of our favorite show right now. Any thoughts at the end here from this episode? Anything we should look forward to?
Just keep an eye out for little things like Alice and Eamon. Keep an eye out on Ulf and Hugh. Um, let's see. Yeah, we see Rhaenyra take the throne, but something that hold on, something that was said in a book, right? In the book, Allison tells her something. Let me see if I can find it. Well, it don't really matter. She tells her like, yeah, you took over the throne, but it's not gonna last long because Aemon's gonna come back and he's gonna want fire and blood and yeah. So just keep an eye out for what happens next.
Which I
So I
think, which I think might be coming in next episode. Not to spoil anything, I did see the preview, and it looks like.
so
And
yeah, keep an eye out for like the new characters um they showed like Orman, Hightower, Darren with his dragon. Um, but yeah, just be ready because things are gonna switch up. Things are gonna come quick, depending on how they stretch it. But yeah, be ready.
that's right, and we'll be ready. Hope you guys are ready for this ride as usual. Another week, another episode. You can find us on our channel. Thank you for the support. I know last week the episode was out, and that was I had some things going on, but the episode from last week is out. If you haven't seen it, this episode will be out, and we'll let you know that it's out. Um, once it's posted. But we'll be back once again. We'll be back next week for episode 3. We'll be back the rest of the season. We appreciate it. Um, we appreciate it, and you know, as of right now, that's all I got. Anything else? 3 hour
No,
Raven.
see you guys next week.
My watch is ended.
That's right.
The dragon.